What's up, everybody? EdBen23 back with another video. I had an interesting experience about a few days ago. I went shopping with the family, and while I dropped the ladies off at a clothing store, there was a Barnes and Nobles right nearby. So while they're out shopping for clothes, I went into the Barnes and Nobles and started looking at different books and see what they had. I went to the comic book section, and while I was there, I managed to read through three trades of different series. I read Aquaman Trench, I read Batman 1000 Clowns, and I read Spider-Man, the crossover between Peter Parker and Miles Morales. And while doing this, a young lady approached me and asked me, I see you're reading comic books, and I said, yes, I am, how are you doing? She asked me, well, I'm kind of new to comics, and I don't know really what to get. So I gave her some advice, and it inspired me to do this video. So this video is going to be about where I think, if you're trying to get into comics, what you should read and where to begin. Typically, there are three main comic book, four comic book companies I would recommend that if you're interested in to read. Primarily, the two most famous are Marvel Comics and DC Comics. The three others I would probably recommend for you to go to would probably be Dark Horse and Image Comics. So those four comic book companies I think are the best and more or less dominate the industry. More or less, Marvel and DC control about 80% of the industry in terms of comic books, and Dark Horse and Image have little shares here and there, and then there are the other companies that kind of fight over the scraps. So typically you should probably go to these four companies. If you're looking for, you need to know what you're looking for. If you're looking for an adaptation of, say, a show or movie series into a comic book form, Dark Horse is probably where you want to go. Dark Horse's adaptations were pretty much anything from Star Wars to Avatar, which both shows I've talked about here. I think they're doing X-Files now. Saw one about them was the X-Files. I think they might be doing Supernatural now. They do Buffy the Vampire Slayer, I'm pretty sure they do. So Dark Horse is the adaptation. If you're looking for, I would say, more the traditional what people associate with comic books are superheroes, if you're looking for that, I would recommend you start at, well, depending on what your age group is, if you're in, I'd say anywhere between maybe the ages of 8 and maybe 14, probably you want to stick with DC. If you're over the age of 14 and between the ages of 14 to age 25, I would probably recommend Marvel, and then anyone 25 and older, I would switch back to DC. Because this is what my experience with what these companies are. DC does its own thing and kind of creates its own sub-universe. It does mildly try and fit in current events, but it doesn't try to the extent that Marvel does. Typically, DC builds their own cities, their own fictional dynamics, and takes the creative liberties that go along with it. They kind of invent their own timeline. They don't follow DC doesn't try too hard to fit itself and make itself so real. But if you're looking for a comic with an element of the most realistic adaptation of the comic book dynamic into a real world kind of feel, Marvel's probably where you want to go. The most real, I would probably say, that you would probably find would, I think, and this is one of my favorite, I think he is my favorite fictional character, Spider-Man, which is, he's a pretty well-known hero, at least in contemporary medium. So that's who I think you should go to. I would probably stick with anything Ultimate, just so you can understand what is going on. You plan on jumping into the main continuity, and for those of you who don't know comics, the main continuity in Marvel, the universe, the main continuity is called 616. The Ultimate Universe is a sub-like continuity that was created, I think, in the early '90s, like the mid '90s, and is a more modern adaptation. So if you're looking for more historical kind of comic book feel and just you can understand what is status quo, stick with 616. Just get a brief I don't recommend you really buy everything, because there have been recent reboots, and for those of you who don't know, reboots is when they kind of destroy any established canon and kind of just start off from scratch. They did this with the whole, there's a Marvel Now, which was a reboot. They did that's the Marvel reboot. DC, I think, did a few reboots just recently with the Flashpoint. It's a storyline that resets a lot of the universe. So I would say anything post Flashpoint and post I think anything that's Marvel Now and anything post Flashpoint is where you want to start out, as to get a modern feel. If you want kind of your own understanding, a more modern feel, stick with Ultimate. So anything that says Ultimate post Flashpoint or Marvel Now is probably what you want to stick with. If you're looking for, like I said, Dark Horse does adaptations for comics. If you're a Star Wars fan, which I am, or an Avatar fan, which I also am, you can pick up some of the stuff they have there. Which I think now that Star Wars is owned by Disney, so Marvel kind of prints even Star Wars now. So that's what you're going to want to stick with. There's a recent storyline called Star Wars Darth Vader and the Ninth Assassin, which is just started, so you can pretty much drop on, so it's not really that hard. That's a pretty good one that you can start with. There's also the Expanding Universe, which is kind of anything that's not in the movies, so you can go there. I would probably stick with anything that says Ultimate, post Flashpoint, Marvel Now. Most Dark Horse adaptations are pretty good, and avoid anything that says Marvel Noir. This has been Advent 24, signing off.